All right, YouTube, we need to talk because, as a self-proclaimed Apple fanboy, I am thinking about things that I never thought I would, which is HP becoming the next Apple, right? I know that seems like blasphemous, but I'm going to explain it. Okay, so first of all, I just got back from New York. I visited a couple events, Intel Pro Day, and then HP actually invited me to check out some of their latest gaming offerings. And when I got back with all my footage recorded, some great demos and hands-on sessions, I started thinking, I can count on less than one hand the reasons why I still include Mac in my professional workflow. So quick little digression background. What do I do? In addition to making YouTube content for The Granite Geek, I also run a video production company. So I need very powerful machines because rendering time is literal money for me, and handling AI developments and increasingly heavy spec requirements for projects. Anyway, that's a digression. That's why I feel like I can kind of give an opinion on this, because I also consider myself a gamer, and that's really where a lot of it comes down to. But I need really powerful machines, and for the longest time, Apple products were the no-brainer choice for me. Why? Number one was reliability. I personally have never had an Apple product fail on me during a mission-critical situation or scenario. And I know that's an outlier. There are plenty of people who use Mac products for professional things and have had them, crap out and fail on them. But for me, it was an if it ain't broke, don't fix it type situation. I've owned dozens of Macs. I've bought them new, I've bought them used, you name it. I've never had an issue. So also I've loved the software, and when I was developing my affinity for whatever tech companies that I was going to, Apple was really gearing itself toward content creators. You had your iMovie and GarageBand, and if you wanted to step up, you could get, Final Cut Pro and Logic Pro 10, etc. And so those softwares were so great. Of course, because Apple develops its hardware and software in-house, felt like a match made in heaven. So it was great. But as I got into more and more video production, I kind of started going to DaVinci Resolve as my primary editor. And that's where the door was left open. And so naturally, when I asked, how were you able to achieve this kind of performance? I was literally told that the departments for development and optimization for softwares like DaVinci Resolve and Adobe Premiere Pro had just not been in communication enough with HP and Intel, etc., in order to properly and fully optimize the software for the hardware, which is what Apple does best because they make both in-house. So these demos seem to be just a first glimpse at the potential that is now possible with full communication between companies like Adobe and Intel and HP and DaVinci Resolve. So HP, of course, they're like, hey, Chris, Geek, why don't we send you over our HyperX 35L, see how it works for your DaVinci Resolve workflow. And dare I say it, it was better. I had a better experience with my DaVinci projects than I did on my Mac Studio. Now, obviously, it wasn't necessarily just a horsepower thing. It was an optimization thing, because you can go spec for spec and dollar for dollar. But by the time you've done that, you've got two very different products before you. On the Apple side, you have a super powerful, buttery smooth Apple ecosystem, blue bubbles and optimized software, video editing, content creation machine. But on the HP side, you've not only got a content creation machine, you've got a gaming rig as well. Now, no, not everybody's a gamer, but there are hundreds of millions of gamers around the world. It's a $200 billion industry, and I think that Apple has chosen to ignore them. They tried, but it kind of failed. And so they've ignored them and done things like release the MacBook Neo, which is a huge success. I think a lot of people are really going to get into the Apple ecosystem because basically you couldn't get a Mac for less than $1,000 for the longest time. And now it's basically half that. Now Apple's very clever because they know that once you get your MacBook Neo, you're going to want your Apple Music, your Apple TV, maybe some Apple Fitness, things like that. And they will make back their extra $500, $400 over a few years. And then it's really all profit from there. And they will have made a lifelong Apple user like me. It's just very compelling, a very compelling price point. You still get that premium feel, you get some nice cool colors, and that same Apple logo is on the back of that machine, just like a $3,000-$4,000 MacBook. So it's basically like the death of the Chromebook and a lot of the other budget machines. But here's the problem, and here's where the MacBook Neo and the gaming world connect. It's no secret that more and more people want to create content. I think it's the most sought after profession now, is to be an influencer or a YouTuber or a TikToker and things like that. And of course, the better you get at it, you're gonna need a more and more powerful machine. And the MacBook Neo, not even the MacBook Air really, is geared toward that. If you don't want to be bottlenecked by performance, you're gonna have to go to the MacBook Pro. But once you're in that Pro world, and this is where we get to the heart of the issue. Once you're in the Pro world, you can either have a very, very, very powerful Apple content creation machine, or you can have a very, very, very powerful HP content creation machine that also doubles as a gaming rig. And I don't think that Apple wants to lose all the people like me who are professional content creators, but then also enjoy gaming, or people who are just gamers. Because if you're a gamer, there really only ever is one choice, and that's PC. So it all comes down to this for somebody like me. If I'm sitting at my desk editing a project, I would much rather be able to create a project at the highest frame rates, highest fidelity, export it very quickly, and then hit a few buttons and be playing a AAA title at max frame rates and fidelity, than have a Mac that I can do all the same things in terms of creating content, but then need to go turn on an Xbox or go buy a PC and turn that on. Whoever makes a machine that can do both, I think, is ultimately gonna win. And right now, it's no question that that's HP. You know, Apple was very much, and still is to an extent, a power to the people type of company, but you can't look at HP's latest offering and say that they're not. Now, of course, I also very much enjoy the quality and build quality of Apple products as well. And HP, they're starting to lean over there as well, using plastic very scarcely, only where needed. That hardware quality feel is just going up and up and up. And so what does the future look like? I think that if Tim Cook leaves Apple this year, Apple's gonna be in a lot of trouble, because they really have to decide where are they gonna go. MacBook Neo is certainly a hit, but they have to address gaming. Otherwise, by the time you get into the Pro world, people are gonna want their Pro machines to both create content and be perfect at consuming and playing content as well. So as I said, I can only count on one hand now the reasons why I still use Apple products. And one of them, in addition to the Apple ecosystem, is my iPhone, right? HP has no answer for the iPhone. And as long as that's the case, you know, I always thought that Apple was head and shoulders above all the competition, but now you can genuinely see pros and cons to being Apple or companies like HP. So let me know what you think down in the comments section below. This is a weird video to make, but I want to be as objective as I can on this channel, just to help people who are maybe on the fence. And I know that that is a small crowd. The majority of people have already drawn the line in the sand, and they are either PC Master Race or they are Apple. But for those of you who are really trying to think critically about, okay, what kind of machine do I want and where am I going to spend my money? There's a lot to consider. So let me know what you think down in the comments below. And as always, hit the like button, subscribe, and click the bell so you don't miss as we cover all things tech. I'm Chris Grant Jr. It's the Granny Geek Show.